Welcome to Let's Talk Books Unscripted. Welcome to episode 26 of Let's Talk Books Unscripted. This is unedited, unscripted. What you see, what you hear, that's what you get. So I want to thank everyone who tuned into our live episode last Friday. That was so fun.
It was really fun.
We had a lot of people who tuned in, more than I thought, so I was really happy about that. It went well, a lot of participation, so we'll definitely be doing that again. Mm-hmm. We'll figure out how to flip our screen over next time.
Yeah, beforehand.
But that went really well. We're really pleased, and it did help us a lot with our watch hours on YouTube, which is a big deal for us.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing we need to ramp up for our YouTube channel.
We appreciated everybody who
tuned in
and watched the whole thing. And yeah.
We're thinking every couple episodes we'll go live maybe, or every 5 or every 3, whatever.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out a routine, I guess, or how we want to do it. But
that's good.
And yeah, we would have liked to get on sooner for this, but we ended up just having a pretty busy weekend and kind of wrapped up our summer since Corey will be going back to work tomorrow and the kids start school. So we kind of crammed our weekend full. It was all good things, but busy. Saturday we went to like a local amusement park. It's like 30 minutes away from us.
In Green Bay?
We both have not been in a really long time. I think it was even longer for Corey than it was for me. So it was fun to take our kids, and we went on a few rides, and they lasted for I think maybe a little longer than I thought they would have. And then we went to an author event afterwards. That was really fun to support a friend of mine. She wrote a children's book, so I'm going to show you that right now actually. So I know we talk about books that we read most of the time. I know we've talked about a couple kids' books here and there, but this is called A Filipino Christmas Wish. And so she wrote it, and then I'm not sure of the illustrator, like how she knows her. I don't remember the connection there, but somebody else illustrated it. We grabbed a paperback version. She has it in hardcover too, but here's like a little peek inside, and she has a glossary at the end too for some Filipino words that you might not know, which of course they're new to me as well. So that's pretty cool. And then this like craft too. There's like a how-to in the back. So that's really fun. Yeah. They had the material set out for kids to do if they had wanted to. But yeah, we went to support her, and so this book is officially out. I will make sure to link it, so if you have kiddos, or if you have just kiddos in your life that you want to get a gift for. Obviously this is not our background, but we are firm believers in, having a bunch of different books in our home and diversifying our library and just learning about different cultures and all of that. So yeah, that was a really fun thing to go to. Like I said, I'll make sure to link it. You can get it on Amazon, and you can also go on she has her own website. So either way, you can grab yourself a copy. And then we would have loved to stay longer at the bookstore, but some of our recent visits with our children to bookstores have not gone the best. So it wasn't really a day for us to browse and take our time. But I was glad to find this and I didn't have to hunt for it, because it has been on my TBR for a really long time. This is called Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. And then he also has another book that has come out since this one even. And I did see it there. I was tempted to get both. But since I haven't read this yet, I was like, I want to give it a shot first and see if I want to read the next one. Oh, it doesn't have it. Oh, yeah, he wouldn't have it in here, I guess. But yeah, what is it called? That's what I was looking for, the name of it. Maybe it's listed
Bookshops and Bone Dust.
Okay, it was on the back of the book. All right, yeah. Bookshops and Bone Dust, and I believe that one is a prequel, but he wrote it after this one. So yeah, this just screams fall for me. It's a cozy fantasy. I've heard lots of people say they really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to read this fall. I will not be waiting until next fall to read it. I will actually read this very soon.
It's officially fall in our house.
I'm excited.
Yes,
yeah.
We busted out the fall decor today.
We did.
And I am drinking Oktoberfest beer, so
I'm not drinking a fall beer, but it is still fall-esque in our house.
Decorated for fall. The weather looks fairly mild here in Wisconsin, so it's time.
Yep, and I guess with the kids going back to school, that also
feels
signals
fall
for me too. I was telling Corey when we brought the fall stuff up, we brought it when we did this last year. it was hilarious because the kids were just setting stuff out like willy-nilly, just like everywhere. And it was a repeat this year, but it was pretty cute. So it's like, well, we'll have to go and change some things here and there. They set like a whole bunch of stuff like on one surface, and I'm like, no, I won't be staying like that. But
it feels good though. There's pumpkins everywhere.
It's nice to have it out. We'll have to kind of tweak a few things here and there, but you have to let us know in the comments if you decorate for fall, or if you don't really do a lot of fall decorations, or if you wait a little bit longer, or
big into Halloween decorations.
Let us know.
Yeah.
So, all right, what do we want to dig into first?
Well, you have a couple books you finished.
I guess I can talk about
I
those.
have not finished any since our live episode. So why don't you show the ones you finished up?
Okay, so I finished The Love of My Afterlife. This was a very adorable book. I can't remember if I brought it up on one of our last ones, probably. But yeah, it's got a really cute cover. And this is a rom-com magical realism book. I've been very into that subgenre lately. So this was just a delight of a book. I don't know if you've posted my review yet on this one, but that'll be coming. So I did do an official review on it if you want to wait for that and watch that. So yeah, I probably won't say much about it, just other than that I loved it, because you can watch my review and see that. But if you have any other questions for me and I didn't cover it in there, definitely let me know. I know some of you guys follow us over on Instagram too. So I just wanted to kind of say that I love chatting with people on Instagram. I actually have somebody's legit phone number now from Instagram, so that's kind of cool. Where I'm like, and I would love the opportunity to meet some of you who watch here and also have talked to me on Instagram, and meeting in person would be really, really cool. So and funny enough, this is actually one that she particularly really enjoyed as well. So I just really love chatting with her about magical realism books especially. But definitely check this one out if you're into magical realism or rom-coms of any kind. I felt like it lived up to the hype, at least in my opinion. And then this one is Worst Case Scenario by TJ Newman. I know we did talk about this one because this was one that I bought right on the day that it published. This was one that I had wanted to get on that particular day. And I feel like I gave you an update, I want to say, when I was still reading it. And I was thinking, I wasn't sure how it was going to stand up to Drowning, which was her previous novel. I will say that it came through for me in the last chunk of the book. So I still ended up very much enjoying it overall. But I will say that I liked Drowning more. So I will at least say that. But I'm very excited to continue to read this author and see what she comes up with next. But I feel like my preference is her writing books where they mostly take place on the plane. I think what I mentioned is that this book takes place primarily on the ground. So you're following the catastrophe of what happens when this plane hits a nuclear power plant. So I'm not giving anything away. That happens pretty much right away in the book. As you can see with the, flames all over the plane. But no, it was still very gripping. She's an excellent author. I just think she has a really wonderful way with words and has a good way of keeping you invested in the story. There were a lot of characters, maybe even more than in her previous novels. So I started to have a little bit of a hard time keeping up, but there were 4 characters in particular that I really gravitated towards and was rooting for and wanted to know how things would tie up for them. So I do think you have my review of this one on here.
Yes, I do.
So if you want to check that out, you can see my
full
review.
6-second review.
Yeah, whatever it is on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I did finish, we can kind of both talk about this one.
Yeah.
I finished this. This is one where, if you want to take over, we're kind of buddy reading this one. But I finished it, just waiting for him to finish, but I listened to it on audio.
Yeah, so Katie cranked her out on audio. I'm reading it physically, but I'm getting close. I'm nearing the ending point, so it shouldn't be too long. And then we can give a formal kind of dual. Maybe we'll do a longer review on this one, either on here, on TikTok, or something.
Yeah.
But it's such a good story, and
it's very heartbreaking.
Really, really sad. It's a sad story. Just, with all she went through with losing her mom and just her family and all that, it's just kind of a devastating story, but it's just really necessary story. The cover says, Deeply Necessary from Vogue. And
Mhm.
really good story. I really am loving it. And just the bond of, you know, how they bond over food in a way.
Mhm.
And her parents weren't the greatest people, but just, you know, how things change after you lose someone. And
Yeah.
really good book. So
It's
we'll
a
give...
very touching, very touching story.
Very
It made me hungry listening to it, actually.
I know. You got to listen to her, like, pronounce a lot of the Korean foods.
Yeah, it was cool, because, I got to listen to the audio.
Try to pronounce them in my head, but I think I'm nailing it. Just kidding, I'm not. But
So,
we'll finish this one up, and we'll give kind of a formal review. Maybe we'll do a longer review, so you can hear our final thoughts on it, because this is one I would recommend to anybody who wants to dig into a memoir.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe your first memoir, maybe you love memoirs and you haven't read this one yet, because this one is just, it's written so well. And but yes, remember, it's crying in H Mart, so you're gonna be crying too.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a current for him, and one that I just finished.
Yep. So.
And then, I have 3 right here that I'm in the middle of. I'll just kind of touch on these really quickly, because I know I got into them a different time. I'm still working my way through both of these. It's not because I'm not enjoying them, but I will tell you this. If you don't like long chapters, like I don't, this book is, I'm not even kidding you, on average, the chapters are anywhere between 60 and 80 pages long. Like, not 16, 60, 60, and 80. And so I'm kind of slogging through with it. And again, it's like, it's funny, because clearly there's tons of other books I've read that are the same length. But if they have shorter chapters, I'll fly through it faster for some reason.
Huge difference.
And it's a lot because, as you know, we have kids. So I feel like for me, I'm like, if I can't sit down and, get a chapter out in like 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever allotted time my kids are giving me, I'm like, then I'm just not as inclined to pick it up. And so then I've got to like wait till later to read it. So I am excited to keep going with it. It is on the slower side, but I am interested. It's been, it's very interesting to hear it from the slasher's perspective.
Yeah.
So he's telling his story, and that's really unique, I think. So I will finish it. It's not going to be like I didn't finish or DNF. But it's just taking me a little bit longer to get through it.
You need a chunk of time.
Yes, I need a decent chunk of time.
So 30
I need
minutes
to make sure I'm not starting it too late at night when I'm feeling sleepy. So
When you have kids like us, like you like those short chapters.
Yeah,
so it's like
their life.
In 5 minutes you can crank out a chapter.
Yeah.
Or 2 chapters.
What I will say about that book, is somebody recommended doing it on audio. So like part of me wants to look and see if it's available on Libby. I use Libby for listening to audiobooks for free through the library, but I feel like with it being a pretty new book, I'd be on like a super long wait list for it. So I might check. It's always worth looking. But maybe you pay for your audiobooks and you have Audible or something. Well, then there you go. You could do that. But she did suggest doing the audio.
It won't seem as long in the chapters.
Yes, she said if you do not like long chapters, you could just crank it out on audio.
Makes
so
sense.
I mean, as I'm talking about that right now, I might try to do that, but I'm not going to pay for it. So if it's not on Libby, I'll just keep on keeping on with the physical book. And then The God of the Woods, also this one's an even longer book than that one. And it does actually have pretty short chapters overall. But again, it's just like kind of a slower paced book. So again, it's not that I'm bored or that I'm not liking it. It's just, taking me a little bit longer to get through it. And just because of like the material's a little bit heavier, like the content is heavier. But this is categorized as like a mystery / historical fiction. I think that's what it would be.
Yeah.
Or what was the other word I was looking for? Like literary fiction or something maybe.
Litfic.
Litfic. So it kind of falls into a couple different categories. But this author, I can already tell, I'm very much liking her. She's an excellent writer. Definitely immerses you in this world that she's created. I mean, I would say one maybe downside, or if you struggle with this in your reading, is she jumps around a lot. So this book time hops quite a bit. So you're kind of trying to remember like which character matches up with this time frame. And so sometimes I will say that maybe be one like even for me, a downside is that it takes me a little bit into the chapter to even be like, okay, this is where we are. This is what we're talking about. So I think that is affecting my reading experience a little bit, but I am enjoying it. So I really want to crank this one out and finish it up soon, because I just kind of categorize this as a summer read, because it does take place during the summer. The whole thing, each time frame is in the summertime. So I'm like, now I'm all about fall, so I'm like, I really want to finish it.
She has it,
but I do recommend it.
Are there any other books that she's written? A couple. She's got 4 other books here.
Yeah, so it's not a debut.
Nice. Yeah.
So I'd be interested to check out some of her other stuff too, but it is very good.
It's getting a lot of buzz, so.
Yeah. So yeah, those are a couple current
so
ones if you want to.
One that I started that I was hyping up a lot for myself to start was this book by Stephen King, Misery. So I've started it. I'm about 85 pages in, and so far it's good. So far it's real good. And I kind of understand why people suggested reading this one first for Stephen King, because it's not so much as horror. It's just kind of a little more disturbing.
Creepy. Yeah.
And one thing that a lot of people say about Stephen King is that he loves words. So he can be really wordy with his descriptions, and he uses a lot of big words. And I'm seeing that in the writing, but it's just, this book's so intriguing, and I'm very curious what's going to happen, because the storyline's very, 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 very odd and very cool and very creepy. And it's really, at this point, there's only 2 characters. You got Paul Sheldon, who's the author, and then you have Annie Wilkes, who is his caretaker, but also the one who abducted him, kind of in a way. She rescued him, but she also kind of
took him captive.
Yeah, she's the captor. So really weird, and she's definitely messed up. This is a movie with Kathy Bates. So like, I haven't seen the movie. I'm gonna watch it after I read it. But as I'm reading the book, I can just see Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes. Like it's kind of crazy, because she's a very different character, and she's got a lot of things going on. There's something happened in the past we haven't found out yet, but it's so good. It's so good. So I'm gonna love it. So I think this will probably seal that I'll read another Stephen King book, maybe a little more scary one. But this has been a good one to start with, because it's not too scary for me.
Yeah, it kind of creeps you out.
But really liking it. It is quite the story, I gotta say.
Well, I guess my last current read, well, I shouldn't say it's my last one. I have a couple more on the table, but I was like, I'm not showing everything I'm reading because we'll be here all night. But yeah, I have like a couple that I'm doing digitally on my phone. We've talked about this before. That I have normally a couple audiobooks,
Infinity
couple on my phone,
books, like I said in the
couple
live.
more physical ones on the table that we're just gonna not talk about right now. So I won't keep you in total suspense. I'll show them eventually, but just not tonight. But this is another one that I started pretty recently, and I'm flying through it because it's a real little book. So I only have this, the smaller amount there left. If I'm feeling it, I may finish this tonight, actually, because the chapters are real quick, so yay. Yay for short chapters. But yeah, this is The Butcher and the Wren, and I really do not want to mess up her last name, so I don't want to try. But if you can read that and you want to, say it in your head, or maybe you know how to pronounce it.
We were trying to say it earlier, but...
let me know. But she is the co-host of Morbid, a true crime podcast. So now that I've been reading this, I'm very interested in checking out her podcast, even though I don't normally listen to podcasts. I'm an audiobook listener, but podcast is very similar. So I'd be interested to check that out. And then she actually has a sequel to this coming out like this month.
Yeah.
So I'm going to want to buy it because I will have just finished this, and then I'm probably going to want to just get right to that one right away. I will say it's very disturbing. So, I don't know what your level is on that when it comes to like serial killer books, but it's told in dual perspective, which I find really interesting. So it's told from the serial killer's perspective, but then the chapter switches to, what's her name? Wren Muller is her name. So that's why it's called The Butcher and the Wren. So she works in a morgue, and so she's like, I don't think she's a full detective, but like works alongside like a detective to obviously try to solve the crime based on like the bodies that they're seeing come through, and so it's very interesting. It kind of almost, I haven't even said this to you yet now that I've been like telling him about it. It kind of gives me some vibes of that one vampire show that we were watching for a little while, because she works alongside the cops and the detectives and stuff like that. What was that called? Because she's a vampire, but she's like a good one. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't go and just attack people in the middle of whatever.
She's a zombie.
No, not vampire. Sorry, zombie.
Zombie.
Yes. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking vampire, because I just picked a vampire-themed book from Aardvark.
Zombie, yes.
Zombie. She's a zombie, yes.
So she would eat the brains of the victims, and she would almost be able to see visions of what happened.
So that's not the kind of stuff that's happening in this book, but just the idea of, like, it was almost like she could help them solve what happened to these
Based
people.
On their bodies?
Yeah. So I don't know. But so that's what Ren does in this, but she doesn't have to eat their brains to see that. But for some reason that was just
similar
like coming into my brain. I don't know, but I've always been very intrigued by serial killer stories, even though they're really messed up. But sometimes you just kind of want some insight into why somebody becomes that, like, and why they do what they do. And yeah, they haven't like done a deep dive into this person's past, but like a little bit. So like in a couple of his chapters, you kind of see what his upbringing was like and why he has this desire to, kill people. But yeah, I'm doing a buddy read on that one with a friend from Instagram. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So let's dig into the new books we've gotten. And you got a box from Book of the Month.
Yes.
Came in the mail today on Labor Day.
Yeah,
so
I feel kind of bad. I could have waited till tomorrow though.
So today is Labor Day. You'll probably see this tomorrow, but so everyone knows. A lot of people know that my last week was my birthday on Tuesday. So thank you for all the birthday wishes. It was great. 37th birthday. So despite the reel we did, I did not actually buy myself 37 books.
We shopped off.
That would have been great.
But you did get.
I did get 2 new books for my birthday, so I'm going to show those. So the first one I want to show, and it's going to lead into a question I have, is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. So I did mention last couple episodes that I want to read The Goldfinch by the same author. So my question is for everyone, I haven't started The Goldfinch yet, which one should I actually start with first? Would you, if you've read either of these, would you recommend starting with one or the other, or does it not matter? Because I'm definitely going to read one of these very soon, but this was the one that I kind of got attention to her, but then Katie had The Goldfinch already, so I'm like, okay, well, here we go. But this was in my Amazon cart for a while, and Katie pressed...
I pressed the,
the buy button for me for my birthday.
Because he wasn't going to.
I've heard nothing but good things about this book. So... yeah, that's my question. Maybe I'll put a post on Instagram too, just to get some insights, because I would like to know, because I do trust people who have read either one of these books or both to say which one would be the best to read first. So if you know, please let me know. But excited for both of these, so I could go either way with it.
And then you gotta talk about your other.
Yeah. So my next one is a book that. Like in the last couple weeks, I've been seeing it all over the socials. And Katie noticed when I've been watching people talk about it, I've been getting a little like, interesting. Like, so she bought it for me, gave it to my birthday.
That one he did not know.
I was a little surprised that she got it for me, but I know why, because it is really piquing my curiosity. And it is this book, Tender is the Flesh. So you may have seen this one going around the socials, because it's being talked about a lot, especially now we're getting towards spooky time. But this is a book about a dystopian world where animal meat becomes infected and therefore poisonous. So therefore it has now become legal to eat other kinds of flesh, if you know what I mean. So it's actually written by someone who works in one of the factories, and that's all I'm going to say. But it's a short book.
Isn't she from Argentina?
Yes.
So it was actually translated into
This was
English?
translated to English.
So I thought that was really interesting too.
So, but
I'll
just
probably read it too
man,
eventually, but I'm a
people keep
little
talking about it,
disturbed.
and all people, everyone says how good it is, but also like I think if you're gonna read this book, you have to understand, what it's about.
Yeah.
So if that's something you don't want to read about, but it seems like a really just interesting concept. And
Nice and short too.
yeah, it's a quick read. I think it's like 210 pages. But let me know if you've heard anything about this book, because I literally keep seeing it everywhere, and I see it at the bookstores and like,
Yeah.
I mean, so. But I've heard a lot of good things, but also people are like, let me know what you think about it, and like, I can't sugarcoat it. It's a little disturbing, but I'm very intrigued by the book. So
it's got an interesting cover to it.
Look forward to my take on this book, and if you've read it, please leave me a little note.
Yeah.
Or a warning, or just
like maybe don't read it. Oh,
you're
too
gonna,
late.
You're gonna be fine. All like the reviews in the back are all just amazing, and like people are just captivated by this story.
Yeah. And then I guess last but not least, I'm not only just now opening this, so I did already peek, but you can kind of be a part of it here.
The unboxing.
I've made this decision, by the way, that because of how many books we do typically buy, we have to slow down somehow. And I can't justify 2 book subscriptions anymore. So I'm cutting myself off at the end of the year. So I'm at least giving myself through the end of the year, because I have like a free book coming in December, which is when my birthday is. So I'll get to get like a free book then, and then they do depending on what gets voted as like the book of the year. If it's one that I don't already have, I'm probably gonna want it. And then if with your status with them, because I became a BFF again, I'll be able to get that one for free. So
2 free books coming.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's worth it to me to like pay for a couple more boxes. But then I'm gonna close the doors on book of the month and stick with my aardvark. Because if I can only pick one, that's gonna be the one. So
yes.
But that said, I did get my book of the month today, and I was very happy. And they always have fun bookmarks too, like Aardvark does. This one says, "Back for more." And they kind of changed their bookmarks a little bit recently. They're like a lot longer.
That's good. Their books are big, so.
Yeah, they are. So I wasn't actually super interested in any of their main picks this month. So one nice thing about Book of the Month, though, is that they then let you pick like a member fave. So they give you like a list of like really popular books based on like what members have rated them. So I was still able to then get one and then pick an add-on that I really wanted, because I was gonna be bummed if like I wasn't interested and I had to skip and then like couldn't get the add-on that I really wanted, because you do have to get like a main thing in order to get an add-on. So I did pick One Star Romance. Maybe you've read it, maybe you've heard of it. I've heard mostly good things. I think I've seen maybe a couple not so great reviews, but I would say overall, and funny enough, the premise of this one is, so this is an enemies to lovers trope for this one, but I guess the guy gives this girl a 1-star review on...
She's an author.
Yes, I believe they both are. It says, a struggling writer is forced to walk down the aisle at her best friend's wedding with the man who gave her book a very public 1-star rating in this fresh romantic comedy. So, enemies to lovers isn't always my go-to trope, but there was a book I read recently that I really liked, that I felt like the banter was like spot on. Oh, it was Happy Medium, and that was a magical realism one. And so I'm like, it might get me to start reading more enemies to lovers books.
It can be tough, especially if it's slow.
Yeah. So we'll give this one a try. It looks cute.
It looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like, looks cheery.
I don't know that I'll get to it soon. I am going to say that because it's not screaming fall to me, so I might wait a little bit to read it, but I am excited.
Yeah, we just did a reel we posted about TBRs, meaning to be read.
Yeah.
It never says when they need to be read. So we just did a reel on Instagram, so check it out.
Yeah. We'll have it here too. We'll have it posted on here too.
Yeah.
But then this is the one I was very excited about, but they just did not make it a main pick. They did it as an add-on. But this is called The Night We Lost Him by Laura Dave. you may be familiar with her because she wrote The Last Thing He Told Me, which I really loved that one. We watched the TV adaptation on Apple TV. So if you didn't know that existed, you should watch that. I would suggest reading the book first.
Who was in it?
Jennifer Garner. And I love her. I will basically watch anything she's in because she's like definitely one of my favorite actresses. And she did very well. Good. And Corey liked it, even though he did not read the book. But yeah, she definitely likes, so this would be categorized as more mystery than a thriller. I don't know. Cause it wasn't scary. Like it definitely was, it didn't have like the scare factor. But just kind of some like family drama is what she definitely likes to write about. So this is still a different story than The Last Thing He Told Me, but it's gonna have similarities because obviously this author likes to write kind of like some family drama, secret keeping and finding out about a secret, later on. And so this one sounds really riveting. And I'm excited. I love the cover especially.
Yeah, I like that.
It's kind of a cool cover.
That one is one I would pull off the shelf.
Yeah, so it's just like attractive,
There are books that like are on our shelves and I'm just like drawn to them.
Yes, yeah. So really a cover does matter sometimes.
I never say don't judge it by the cover because I do judge books by the cover all the time. And generally they're pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm never going to not judge it.
But sometimes you read a book that's not super pretty on the outside, but the inside is great. So I don't know.
You're right.
That does happen. I think that's all
That's it. We have no questions to answer. So we did our live. So if you have questions for next episode, please ask them because we got a lot to unpack. We will try to get to our next episode soon. We want to definitely do once a week.
We want to try to commit to, once a week. And
obviously we're mixing in like our reviews and the reels. And
so we hope you guys enjoy that content as well. But
so hopefully everyone had a great Labor Day weekend and you had some time to relax. And if your kids are going back to school tomorrow or you got reality tomorrow,
good luck.
Let's
all get some good sleep. Well, I guess you'll be watching this tomorrow, but... But yeah, I'm excited for a little bit of reading time, and then and then lights out over here.
Hit the hay early. Let's. You gotta read first, though.
Yeah, reading first.
Then sleeping.
Reading is always first.
All right.
We will talk to you next time.
See you next.